How is it going today, guys? In today's little episode, I'm going to be walking around this awesome old cemetery in Rincon, Puerto Rico. You'll hear a lot of noise around me because this cemetery is right in the heart of the town here in Rincon. There's a lot of history in this cemetery, and like I said, right now we're walking through the old historic part of the cemetery, and there's a large newer section on the other side. It can be pretty hard to get up there. All the tombs are pretty much smashed together as closely as you can get them. I mean, I don't know how much more you can possibly fit up here on the side of this hill, and this is just how they had to do things because there wasn't a lot of room, and you know, everybody wants to live in Puerto Rico, so there's a lot of people and not a lot of space to bury them, especially when you're doing the traditional Catholic burial with the above ground tombs and everything. There's just so many cool graves in this old part of the cemetery. Whenever I go to these cemeteries in Puerto Rico, I always try to spend most of my time at the older parts of the cemeteries because I'm into the history and stuff like that, but I also like the cool old weather-worn headstones that litter the old parts of the cemetery. This one's pretty cool. Let's zoom in a little bit. And I've already shown you guys this cemetery multiple times on my YouTube channel. It's just that here in Puerto Rico, the New Year's, Christmas, and Three Kings holidays, they kind of complicate things for me as far as going to other cemeteries and actually seeing that not only is it a Sunday, but we're on the verge of Three Kings Day. I'm actually pretty surprised that this cemetery was even open today, but what I think they did was they just came here and opened the gates and then left, because I don't see any workers here. And in fact, I don't see anybody here but me, which isn't untypical for what I do. I spend a lot of time alone in these cemeteries. And so I'm just killing a Sunday, and even though I'm in Rincon, one of the best places I would say in the world as far as beaches go, I don't care. I'm not really interested in them, so here I am back at the cemetery. If I can't go to a new cemetery, I might as well visit a cemetery I've already visited many of times over. They do a pretty good job, all in all, of maintaining and upkeeping this cemetery too. I know it's hard when all the tombs are so close together like this, but I just want to take you guys on a little walk, and I'm walking through a lot of spider webs too. You might not notice it on the camera, but the spiders here, they build webs fast, and there's lots of bees too, pollinating some of the flowers and the different weeds here. Let's try to take a look at some of the bees and see if we can see any of them flying around. I must have scared them off, but there was a bunch of bees here just a second ago, so it wouldn't surprise me if there was a beehive in one of these tombs. Not only do the iguanas like to build little homes in some of these old tombs, but they also make a great spot for a beehive because this concrete takes so long to deteriorate. And like I said, I don't think too many people are walking around up here like I do. Let's go up here and take a look. Yeah, I've always liked this headstone right here. Something else you'll notice about this cemetery and many cemeteries in Puerto Rico is how many veterans have been laid to rest in these cemeteries. Puerto Rico has a whole lot of United States Army veterans. And I swear it seems like every third headstone in some of these cemeteries, you'll see old U.S. veterans plaque on them. It just goes to show how close America and Puerto Rico are linked together, even to this day. I'm gonna try to get down here and get back on a path. Yeah, I'm in Rincon, Puerto Rico, and I expect somebody to show up and lock the gates anytime, so I want to speed up a little bit and show you guys some more of this historic legendary cemetery. This is obviously one of the best headstones in the cemetery. And while I looked up a lot of the names here on Find a Grave and Google and whatnot, I couldn't really find anything too significant as to who this family was, because whenever I see awesome like headstones like this, I always think that this must be a family of some kind of prominence that's been buried here. Like when I was in Mayaguez, I noticed there were a lot of like, or a decent amount of like rich, I would say like French aristocrats that are buried there that came to Mayaguez during the time it was founded. And when they passed away, they were able to afford these elaborate burial plots and beautiful statues and so on and so forth, when, you know, the common man usually gets just like a cross or, you know, something kind of simple like that. We're leaving the old section of the cemetery now and heading into the more of the newer areas. I'm going to give you guys one more beautiful look at this section here. Like I said, everything's just so smashed in in a lot of these cemeteries in Puerto Rico because there just isn't room for everybody. So many people move here and want to live here because it's paradise, but there's not a whole lot of room to bury the dead. I can spend hours just walking through these cemeteries though. Like I said, I have a lot more fun here than I would at the beach where everybody else is at, because there's a lot of people in town right now, but ironically enough, I think I'm literally the only person in the cemetery right now. So now let's check out part of the new side of the cemetery, because there's been a lot of people buried here lately, and gosh, this cemetery is slowly turning into one of the larger cemeteries on the island, and I think that's because a lot of people want to live in Rincon. So this is to be expected. It's just so many graves. And I'm glad I came here at a moment where it's not too sunny and hot. It's actually a little cloudy and windy today, which is nice, because when there's no wind and that sun's beating down on you, and then you add that with the humidity around here, because we're literally right by the ocean. The ocean's like a 10-minute walk that way, and you're in water, so you get that ocean breeze, but you also get that humidity from the ocean too. This is like the office area of the cemetery. They did a really good job making this place nice. Wow. There's actually a handful of people down there in the new section of the cemetery. As you can see, it's pretty vast, but there's a handful of people down there mourning their loved ones, because like I said, it's the newer part of the cemetery, so I kind of expect there to be more people over there. And that's a lot of the reason why I like the older part of the cemetery. So let's just go back and walk around that a little bit more, because a lot of the people that are buried over on this side of the cemetery, and now this is just my opinion, I don't know for sure, but I just don't think a lot of these graves really get visited as much as the graves over there in the newer section, and for obvious reasons. People come and go in Puerto Rico, so a lot of the people that are buried on this side might not even have loved ones in the area anymore. Some of these graves haven't been properly visited by ancestors in 50 years or more, I would guess. And that's just how it goes with cemeteries sometime. If you watch my channel for any length of time, I talk about this a lot in the farmer community in Washington State, where I'm from too. And Here's an example of a United States veteran that's buried here in Rincon. And like I said, you'll find plaques like this all over the cemeteries here in Puerto Rico. There are so many veterans that are from Puerto Rico. It's crazy. It really is. Like, I didn't realize the scale of it until I started walking around these cemeteries and paying closer attention. Oh, interesting. There's something I want to show you guys up here too, because every time I come here, this area over here changes just a little bit. I notice now that somebody put a couple statues up like they should be up here, so let's go check them out real quick. Why not? Like I said, you guys, it ain't easy walking around up here. Everything's so smashed in together. They're trying to get as many people in here as they could for the space that they had, and then, you know, the ground starts getting uneven. You get a couple good rains here, and some of these tombs can start sliding down the hills and stuff, and it's unfortunate, but it's just what happens. I'm really glad that they put these two statues back up. When I was here just a few weeks ago, the statues were down over here on the ground, and maybe they were fixing something or burying another family member in this tomb, and then when they got finished and they put the statues back up like they should be. I don't know, but you can see the contrast. Look at this tomb. This tomb definitely has family members that are still around and come and visit and take care of it. But what about this tomb, these tombs right here? When's the last time you think somebody came and properly visited some of these tombs? Look at how old and weather worn they are, and the vases are old and weather worn, and it's just a crazy fact of life with cemeteries. There's just so many people just that have been laid to rest but are just forgotten in the sands of time. It really does take a lot to have your grave remembered. And even on a long enough timeline, I'm sure that even if your grave's remembered, that it will eventually and inevitably be forgotten as well. Another veteran plaque. This guy was a private during World War II. And that's what I'm saying, you guys. From World War II on, a lot of Puerto Ricans served in the United States military. There are so many Puerto Rican veterans that it would shock the average person that didn't know much about Puerto Rico. I take you guys to the front of the cemetery and see if we can't get up there to the top and show you guys this beautiful view. Like I said, I could possibly get kicked out at any moment because I know the cemetery's getting close to closing down for the day. I wish they were open 24/7, or at least open up until the evening, open till dark or something. It'd be nice to come to some of these cemeteries at like sunset and get some photos of them, but they always close around 3 or 4, and every once in a while you'll see a cemetery that closes at 5, but that's pretty rare. But I'm grateful that I got to come here on a Sunday and spend a little more time in the Rincon Cemetery, because it's definitely an interesting cemetery in its own right. Like I said, I want to take you guys to the top up here, 'cause it's pretty cool. It's like a maze walking through here. Here we go. Go up all these steps here, and pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. I did want to show you guys the new side of the cemetery a little bit though. And so check it out. I'm just kind of walking around right now on this old street, and I'm just tall enough to see over the wall, and you can see just how many graves there are. It's just insane, and it's like this in a lot of Puerto Rico, especially the coastal towns and whatnot. You'll run into just these giant cemeteries like this. There's just so much history going on in Puerto Rico, and there's just so many moving parts and so many people. It really is. It's definitely unique. Definitely unique. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this walk. If you've made it this far, and I might start doing more cemetery walk and talks. I haven't really decided yet. It's a lot of extra work, to be honest with you, so I definitely won't be able to do walk and talks on all of the cemeteries, but in the future I definitely hope to do a few more than I have done. Well, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.